Is he Mexican?
Is Rick Sanchez Mexican? Yeah. Well, speaking of advancements, I've been watching since you mentioned it last week. You keep bringing it up. You're like, I started watching Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty, man. Rick
My,
Sanchez, man, he's awesome.
is he Mexican?
Is Rick Sanchez Mexican?
What do you think? What do you
Uh,
think?
Sanchez, come on, man. Of course. Here's the thing, man. Okay, so we mentioned it before, but Rick Sanchez is like the grandfather, and he gets into all kinds of shit, all these crazy adventures.
Mm-hmm.
But the dude's like always drunk, and like when as a cartoon they draw him, he's like drooling. He's got like drool. I'm like, come on, man. Just because he's Mexican, don't mean he's out there drunk, drooling, and
Do you
he's
think that?
burping all the
But
time.
do you think that that was the case? Well, as you keep watching the show,
But he's a
the guy
genius. Yeah.
the guy lost his wife. So
Mm.
I don't think that is just only Mexican per se, but I see what you're saying, that maybe sometimes the stereotypes that they see us always with the beer in hand and things like that, right?
Yeah. Well, at least they did balance it with him being like the super genius that can time travel or do whatever. He visited different universes. I mean, the guy is exemplary. So
For
like
sure.
that part.
He in the show he kind of invented the portal system to be able to move from between dimensions and places and all of that. So that was what it makes the show very interesting, because there is aliens, there is technology, there is like all these kinds, and the show is only like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, if I
Yeah,
remember, each
probably.
episode.
They're pretty quick. They're quick
They're
shows.
very quick, and I really like it when at the end they just put a little sound. Did you get any of that? So it's like, because sometimes like, what the heck happened here? So
You're
fast.
right. A lot of times, like it just goes bam, bam, bam. You're just trying to keep up with like what's going on with the story, or where you look away for a little bit, you're lost. So like they keep your attention for 20 minutes. I mean, that's the actually another impressive thing about the show. It's like the stories are just so out there, right? They're not super easy to predict, which is one of the things that I don't like about I can predict shows all the time. This is
Mhm.
like way out there, man. I'm not predicting this stuff.
That's what I was telling my wife Katie. The in anime is similar. That's the reason
Hmm.
why I still like anime, because
Hmm.
the stories are like unpredictable. Like suddenly you see all of this thing and you think that maybe they're gonna get married, and bam, they kill the lady. It's just like,
It's just
what
like,
the heck
where did
happened there?
that come from, man?
Yeah. So and suddenly they're like walking around and suddenly pff, blind, right? Like wow. So yeah, you didn't expect that. So seems similar with Rick Sanchez and Morty, and he balanced it because Rick is in pain, right? The guy's a genius on the show, and he's like in pain. You can see that he's like jaded and in pain, like, but he still loves his family, and I think that that's the reason why they make him Hispanic, man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
they
very
put,
good point.
but he
Yeah.
freaking, and he maybe might be like angry or whatever, but he loves his grandson, and he in his own way, right? Because everything is in his own way. But yeah, it's just the usually all of the adventures is with them. It's like he's not by himself, right? So, but yeah, I think that that also play a role why maybe Hispanic as well made it sense.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, the storytelling is really cool with Rick and Morty. You know, it does the hero's journey. You familiar with
Hmm.
that, Mando?
Yeah, there is this guy, and is I think that his name is Joseph Campbell, and probably this formula has been there forever, right? But I think that lately they have been attributing to this guy because he did a diagram. I really recommend anyone that is an artist or kind of like to write things, even the pod. We truly sometimes follow the recipes when we are telling you stories, because you have literally the hero, right? Kind of it goes in a kind of in a circle for the whole journey, where you can just go through these steps where there is some challenges, and then in some point even there is something mystical like Harry Potter, right? Like it gets some help and guidance, and there is something unknown, right? And then it comes
Mhm.
back to the return, and yeah, now you are You're the guy,
and you're
oh, the guy.
alive. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I mean, you see a lot of those tropes in Rick and Morty, so it's really easy to kind of follow. But it's just the ideas that they bring. They'll take it to the nth degree, and
Dude, and
it's wild.
they mess with everything, right? Sometimes like they go racist, but they actually mock racism, right? Like I remember one of them that uh is with the snakes, and then but they were making fun of people that they were racist, like right, the people that are racist, and again the whole show was going through because of the whole thing, but it is an interesting, it's provocative for sure, and it sometimes you feel, oh man, maybe they went a little bit too far there. But yeah, they double on the what you should and what you shouldn't say, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Come on, you can't get mad at it. It's a cartoon. It's like South Park, right? They talk about some crazy stuff on South Park too. This is a very similar.
It's very
It's a similar
similar,
feel,
but
right?
I mean, we are in tech, and I think that that's the reason why I like, because it's actually a South Park with tech.
With tech science, like some science, like physics and stuff like that. It's really cool. It's really interesting. So I now recommend it also as well. I'm only through in the first season. I don't know how many seasons there are. I think it's probably been around for 8 years or so, maybe. It's
Something
been
like
a
that.
while.
I just get it. I was watching the last one few days back.
Yeah, so I'm catching up, but no, it's really cool. It's pretty interesting. But they don't come out and say right away like, hey, like we're Hispanics or hey, we're Latinos. But they I have seen that they kind of drop hints here and there,
Hmm.
and in some cases like, oh, have you ever seen a Hispanic that blah 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 does this or something like that?
Hmm.
So they have alluded to it. It's pretty interesting, but in some cases you do see like
You know,
some people purposely try to hide like their heritage or where they come from or their culture. You know
but
what
did you
that
know what is
reminds me
the
of?
yeah,
What's
and you
up?
know
Go
what is
ahead.
the funny thing though?
Hmm.
The guy is white, and he's making, obviously these writers, they have to put
Mm,
themselves on the type of the person that they're writing, right? Like their personas and all of that.
hmm.
So in this case, impersonating, right? When you have to, in order to have the empathy and all of that. But man, that happens outside too, right?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, like I was like, I wonder if the writers were Hispanic or because I hadn't looked into it. But you're like, no, they're not, right? They're
Hmm.
not Hispanic. So I think that's pretty interesting how people realize that there's a need to address the Latino community, and maybe not
Hmm.
head on. That's not like a main theme in the show or in the cartoon, but it's underlined and it's understood, right? The colors that they use for the characters, he's like a little grayish
It's
almost.
a
I'm
gray,
like,
yeah. It's like
what
it's not
color
even
is
brown.
that? I was like, I think that's kind of like, yeah, I can see some Latino. It's more of an Indio, maybe. I don't know. He's like a dark
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm more familiar with brown. I don't know with gray Indians.
Yeah, I don't know, but that made me think. Like, you know what? Let's leave it at that. You know what? If you like our content, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We love to hear from you. It'll give us ideas on what to talk about next. Hopefully, we inspire the next billionaire out there. Hopefully, it's one of us Latinos, and we got to get onto it, man. You know what? Dale.
Peace.